What does credible thought leadership actually look like when everyone has access to the same tools, the same prompts, and the same ideas? We're diving in deep today.
So, if you're thinking as evolved, but your thought leadership still sounds like an earlier version of you, this is more common than people actually realize.
And today we're going to talk about why most of the content we're seeing online sounds the same. Yes, I'm probably going to come down on some AI prompts and engines in the process, but we're here to really talk to you about how to help your expertise and your thought leadership stand out in an AI-driven world. This is the Grow Your Business for Good show. We're your hosts. I'm Shannon Hernandez.
And I'm Amy Hager.
This show explores what happens when a business outgrows its message and what it takes to rebuild messaging systems that carry the full depth of your work.
Each episode breaks down how messaging shapes trust, authority, and decision making, and why many established businesses find themselves explaining more while being understood less. We focus on the strategic shifts founders and leadership teams need to make when clarity alone isn't enough, so their expertise comes through without oversimplifying it. So, credible thought leadership is about helping the right people really recognize themselves in your thinking. And it comes from clear, structured ideas that reflect lived experience and can be really understood without you needing to explain them in real time. This doesn't come from AI. And today we're really going to dive into what does credible thought leadership look like in a noisy AI saturated market. But before I think we can even go into any of this, I think some definitions need to be set first. And so, what is the difference between credibility and trust? And so, Shannon, how do you feel those two words differ?
Mm. Well, first, I think credibility comes from me having the experience that I talk about. And I'm credible in messaging. I'm credible in marketing,
Mhm.
organic marketing, not paid marketing, right? That's the difference there. I'm credible in being an author and writing two books. I'm credible in um, growing a seven-figure business. I'm not credible in the things that I haven't lived through, done myself, or had any experience with. So that's the first part.
Hmm.
The second part is around trust, right? And for everyone listening today, you probably already know this. We are in an all-time trust recession where people do not know who to trust, what to trust. Is this content real? Is this video real? Is this person real? Are they who they say they are? I mean, it's going on and on and on. And it's impacting a lot of areas of businesses, to be quite
Mhm.
honest.
Right.
So trust is the feeling that we can um, confidently put our faith and our money and our time and energy into this person or this thing. And
Hmm.
we're going to talk about how these two play together in terms of thought leadership.
Yeah. And I think right now, credibility feels harder to establish. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 20, 30, however many years you've been in this industry, that industry, the credibility right now feels hard to establish. I know you said trust. We're in a trust recession, and we're going to dive down that rabbit hole in a second. But why does credibility feel harder right now, do you think?
Oh, well, one, everyone can appear credible
Yeah, great point.
with the invention of this lovely AI, right? So we've got saturated LinkedIn's and Facebook's and Instagram's and ideas that sound like they're good ideas But maybe the person hasn't actually done them. This is that credibility part, right? We've
Right.
got AI building frameworks that sound good, but damn, you go listen to someone teach, they do not even understand what the hell they're teaching,
Hmm.
let alone living it, which is a
Right.
lived experience, right? And then we've got, a saturated market with more content than I've seen ever before. And so much of it sounds the same, or is structured the same, or looks the same, or feels the same. And
Yeah.
so we're at a point where information is no longer the sign of are you credible? Can I trust you? And are you a thought leader?
Yeah. Good point.
And that's really hard for those of us that have been in this business for a long time. And
Right.
we're being like judged against all the new people who've come out or the people who pivoted or whatever into something new, but they don't have the experience behind them because we're getting lumped sort of into the same category. And that's why we're doing this episode today, because you need to understand how to unlump yourself from the lump.
Right. Right. And I feel like,
Right?
it's making people ask, does this person actually understand what I'm navigating? Can they name something I haven't been able to articulate yet? And when we're just showing our credibility, those questions don't get answered.
Exactly. And I also think because many of you on this journey with us here at Joyful Business Revolution, you've been around for the many iterations of the content personality quiz.
Mhm.
Um, and, I still stand by that body of work. It's being, this week, actually, it's being updated once again. But I continue to update it as the world changes, as the
Right.
market changes, because I have even realized that if people are asking of me, new people, right? Not everyone who knows us has been around forever. We're meeting new people all the time in all different ways. They're asking, like, can I trust Shannon? Can I trust Amy? Can I trust this piece of content? What's this quiz about? And what I realized really in the last few months is I've got to go live and do more live stuff, either on Zoom or LinkedIn or Facebook or in person or wherever, because people are wanting to know, one, does this person exist? And two, is this shit legit?
Right.
That's what they're asking.
Right.
And so if you have taken the content personality quiz and you got a result of written or video and even audio now,
Hmm.
those things can be manufactured with AI and people
Right.
aren't trusting them as much. And so I'm saying, let's get back to live in person. Let's get back to live video where you're scratching your nose and, your hair's sticking up crazy and you're having real conversations with people because this
Right.
is what people are wondering. Is this person legit? Can I trust them? Are they
Right.
credible?
Yeah. And I think, again, like, we're not, as practitioners, as thought leaders, as the people that we are, we technically have our credibility, but it's not being recognized. And it is because of all the fake AI stuff that is being created out there. So I really do like that, having more of those face-to-face conversations, being around more people, and letting people really see you for who you are. And yes, you may have all these degrees and all these certifications and all this body of work behind you, but it really is the human connection that is justifying the credibility that you do have. So, are you giving people the chance to have that human connection with you? And when you're having that human connection, that plays into the other word we're playing with today, which is trust. And
Mhm.
so, why is trust feeling so hard right now?
Mhm.
Why are we in a
Well,
trust recession?
yeah. Well, it's because we have more content, more ideas being published by more and more people at rapid rates, and nobody knows if it's true or not.
Right.
And this is why I think we have to gather people into very real rooms, whether they're virtual rooms or in-person rooms or uh, you know, here in Valencia, having a coffee
Mm.
with somebody across from the
Right.
table. Like those are building trust way faster right now than written content.
Right.
Um, I would say written content is one of the biggest ones. I can still pretty much tell, I can tell what's AI and what's not. A lot of people can't,
A lot
but
of
I'm a messaging strategist and I live in
right.
words, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Same.
Which is one of the
Right.
reasons this is so frustrating for me, right? Because guess what? I used to write with the M dash before the M dash said everyone
I
was a
know, I'm
chat.
still mad about this. Like, I feel like I can't use the M dash because I know it's being used in ChatGPT. It makes me so upset.
I feel
Um,
like I need to put errors in every paragraph and just publish it.
oh, that's anything I send, so we're good. I got us covered there.
Yeah. But Amy, I want to talk about, and I hadn't thought about this until right now. I want to talk about self-trust here
Hmm.
because not only are we having an erosion of trust, like, can I trust this person?
Hmm.
I think people sitting behind AI and generating iteration after iteration. Oh, is it this? Oh, is it that? Oh, let me run this through one more time. It is eroding self-trust in our own expertise.
Yeah.
And I notice this even in myself. If I'm brainstorming with AI and I'm like, okay, I have this idea, and then I put it in, and then they say this, and then you know how it goes. Well, what if you did this? And how about this? And did you consider? And before I'm 15 or 20 minutes in, I'm so confused on what my actual good idea was.
Right.
And I'm having to say to myself a lot, and y'all, this has been my mantra: trust my trust.
Yeah.
Because I can sit back there like the rest of the world and iterate and iterate. But before long, I've got 42 copies of something I'm not putting out anywhere
Right.
or 16 ideas. And now I don't even trust myself. And
Hmm.
I don't like that because I've
Right.
always been able to trust myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's worth calling out too, the self-trust piece as well.
Well, and I think it's a point of also feeling fully grounded in what you're creating, what your idea is. In again, you're an expert because of your lived experience.
Mhm.
Double down on that.
Yeah.
So then when you think about our audience, why why do you think we need to show, and I think we've already answered this, but I want to hone in on it a little bit more carefully. Why do you think we need to show in real time with our audience the credibility and the trust combined?
Well, I think they can see how we think, not
Mm,
just the knowledge, but how we go about solving problems,
yeah.
how we break down ideas that can be put into practice. And listen, I gave a workshop yesterday in Valencia and I told everyone, you can leave with this messaging and it may sound really good with us here, but until you actually go roll it out and test it, we're not going to know if it lands or not.
Right.
And that line right there builds a lot of trust with people because they realize we're not breaking news, we're not magicians over here.
Right. There's no magic wands in marketing. We would all be millionaires if so. But yeah, exactly. It's all about rolling it out, trying it out, and see how it lands.
Yeah, and also being able to, say to people, I'm meeting all kinds of people. You too, Amy. It's like, they're in different stages of business. They're reaching out on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. They have unique problems. It's sitting down with these people on Zoom or in person and saying, tell me what's going on right now, and
Right.
tell me what stage of business you're in, and tell me where you want to be in the next 6 months to a year. And this is the discernment. This is actually what's quote unquote winning Amy and I multiple calls with people as they try and figure out if they want to work with us, it's
Yeah.
because we have always slowed it down. We have
Right.
always asked these questions. We have always tailored our work to meet people where they are. And you can't do that if you're not talking to people
Right.
and with people. And so mature audiences are looking and they're listening for how do we handle complexity in our case in messaging and marketing without oversimplifying it. Like that's the other end of the spectrum when AI or the guru marketers of the past say just throw the word simple in front of everything. People love simple. Well,
Right.
y'all, there's a lot of shit that ain't simple.
Right. Yeah, no, and it just makes me giggle because a lot of people, when I first talk to them, I handle all of our sales calls, and they're using the term still, oh, well, people just want simple and ease and they're overwhelmed and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter if they're a handyman, if they are an intuitive coach, if they are a business coach. Everyone I'm talking to in our first conversations are using all of the same language. And so when I start peeling away the layers of that onion and asking them very thoughtful questions because I'm listening to them, I'm taking my expertise and forming what I should ask them next to get them moving forward in their progress and having aha moments in that conversation. And a gentleman that I spoke to yesterday, he's 63. He still needs to work and he's pivoting his business dramatically. And he sent me an email after our conversation. He said, I actually have found someone who finally gets me outside of my family and my close friends. Thank you for taking 20 minutes to ask me questions and get to know me better.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so we really want to we want to feel heard and seen. And I think that is the way we get out of the trust recession that we're in. And so it is slowing the process down. People aren't just buying loosey-goosey on the internet anymore. Times have changed.
Yeah. And I lived through all the times.
I know, right? I'm like, you know,
I
as
feel
we
like I
see
sound
things
like I'm 80.
evolve and change, I mean, there's been so much. Marketing is basically the only thing I've been doing my entire life. And there's still some through lines. There still is building that deep relationship, building that community that are so key. But, the change of the internet when that came on board, and you couldn't just do a flyer and postcard anymore. And now, AI. So I do think it's really important that as the technology changes, as the times change, your messaging, the way you position yourself and how you talk about your work have got to change too. And it's really important, though, to make sure that your ideal audience can recognize themselves in what they've been experiencing, but they may not have been able to name it fully. And that's what you're helping them do.
Yeah, and this is part of the work Amy and I have been deepening here at Joyful Business Revolution, something you'll be seeing more of called recognition-based marketing.
Mhm.
And it differs from the traditional funnel approach where a one size fits all, as my wife says, throw them in the funnel. You throw them in the funnel and let them spin around and see what comes out. Like that never
Yeah.
worked for us. That never felt good. I mean, there were times where it worked, but it didn't work that well. And people are finally waking up and saying, this shit didn't work. Why did I do funnels this way? Right. And so part of my thought leadership and part of Amy's thought leadership is we're deep in thought over here thinking about how do we not only differentiate how we teach messaging within marketing, but
Mhm.
how do we help people explore, experiment, and explain recognition-based marketing is very different and it requires a level of messaging that helps people see themselves in your message in five crucial steps. And side note, We are not doing this behind the scenes of closed doors. We have now run two public workshops where people have known they've been free. I need your support as we work through this. We want to know what you think. We want to know where you're getting stuck. We want you to come and help us build this and get it better. And that to me is what's building a lot of trust because guess what? We
Yeah.
don't have all the answers. We've
Right.
never had all the answers. And I think part of thought leadership is being incredible and building trust. All of it together is being able to have the I don't even want to say courage, but the um very human quality to say, we're testing some stuff and we need other eyes on it. Will you come be our eyes?
Hmm.
And that's the humanity part.
Right.
That's so important to what's going on in the world right now.
I 100% agree. I really, really do. And, as we're taking people through recognition-based marketing and we're realizing more and more how important it is for business owners, I mean, any entrepreneur that has been doing this for a while, again, the game has changed. And so if you're feeling like your website isn't working anymore, if you feel like your newsletter just isn't resonating like it used to, looking at how you're communicating through this lens could be the helpful way to look at it to really connect deeply and reestablish relationships with your audience and even help people who maybe are more newer to your world better understand who it is and what you're doing and what your gifts are. I think, though, Shannon, the one thing too that I want to make sure that we talk about before we wrap up today is as business owners, where is that safe container for us to come together and to kind of really talk about this? Because I feel like with our clients, because we are so open, we can come out and straight up say, this is the first time we are teaching this. You get to give us feedback on it. That's not going to be the case for everybody out there. And so I think it's a really good point to talk about our trusted voice exchange that is happening April 22nd.
Yeah. So I'm a little nervous about this, and it's because it matters so much, right? And so if you've ever been nervous about sharing something, usually it's because it matters a lot to you and to us. So I've been laying awake many nights in Valencia wondering, like, where are the deep thinkers? Where are the people who actually don't want to hear one more thing about AI and would like to come together with other people with deep expertise and have conversations that move our businesses forward, have conversation that expand our thinking. And I'm saying have conversations, not being talked at.
Right.
Because what we've built here, which is debuting April 22nd, is the trusted voice exchange. And the goal, and if you want to see how it unwraps, join us.
Yeah.
You can register at Joyful Business Revolution slash trusted voice. Um, the goal, in my mind and my best and highest vision is that we've picked a topic, which we have, that's resonant to the time in the market, that we have a brief conversation with someone I trust deeply. Amy's going to help moderate the conversation. And then we break the audience out into very small Zoom rooms where they get to continue the conversation and see what comes up for them, for their business. And there is an application for this. It's not a lengthy application, but we're going to look at the answers to the application
Mhm.
and really try and help people find their people. Because what's missing right now is places where we can gather and have deep conversations with people we trust. And I'm pretty excited about it and a little nervous, but I guess more excited the more I talk about it.
So if you're excited and nervous about this too, and you want to join us, just so that way y'all know, it's April 22nd. We're meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern time to 12:15. It's on Zoom. And because there is a component where you will be in a room with others, we do ask you to book the 75 minutes fully and make sure that you show up for the full conversation. And so again, if you want to go to joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/trusted voice to get yourself registered, I just tested the form out this morning. It works. So the tech is there, my friends. Yay. But again, just to kind of wrap up the conversation today, in really making sure that we're resonating with, AI is a tool that you can use for many, many things. But I think as a society, as entrepreneurs, and as established business owners, an important part for us to do is to make sure that we're not putting things out into the universe that sound AI generated. What's your mantra right now? Trust your trust.
Yep.
I think that's the best way to end this today. Trust your trust, my friends. All right, well, that wraps up our show today. If you are an established consultant, strategist, speaker, trainer, and you're finding yourself explaining your work a little more than you should be, I do encourage you to download our profit-driven messaging ecosystem guide. It's at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/profit messaging. And again, if you want to join us on April 22nd for the Trusted Voice Exchange, it's joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/trusted voice. Thanks for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to Grow Your Business for Good. This show is a part of our work at the Joyful Business Revolution, where we help founders and leadership teams rebuild messaging systems when their work has outgrown their message. If you're explaining too much and people still don't fully understand the value of your work, you can explore more at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com.
Until next time, remember this: when your messaging system is aligned, sales conversations shorten, and your expertise comes through clearly.